Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to give everyone a few moments to sign in and get settled, and we'll get started in another moment or two. But thank you again for joining us tonight. All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you again for being here. This is our New York City Public Schools teacher candidate presentation. I am Catherine. I am a teacher in New York City Public Schools. I teach middle school science in Manhattan. And I am joined by two colleagues this evening who will introduce themselves later in our presentation. But thank you for taking some time to join us tonight. We hope that this will be a helpful and informative session for you. Okay, a few notes before we get started. There is a Q&A feature in the control panel of GoToWebinar. So if things come up or if you have questions, please feel free to use that to communicate. You will also receive a recording of this webinar via email. So feel free to take notes if you'd like, but also know that you will have a recording to go back and refer to later. And we do have some QR codes embedded throughout our presentation this evening. So if you have a device and you would like to scan any of those, you are welcome to do so as we move through the slides this evening. All right, so here's an agenda of what we hope to cover tonight. This is a session for New York State certified teacher candidates or education students that are on track to be certified. The presentation is broken up into 4 different topics. We're going to do an overview of New York City Public Schools. We'll talk about the teacher application process, the job search process, and we'll leave some time for questions and next steps. The goal this evening is for you to walk away with an understanding of how you can start the process to begin your teaching career at New York City Public Schools. But as we get started, one website that you will want to write down because you should refer to it often is teachnyc.net. This is really the ultimate resource for all the things related to beginning a career in New York City Public Schools. Okay, if you have questions, as we mentioned, please feel free to submit those in the question section of GoToWebinar. The other thing I'll mention here is that the sooner that you apply, the sooner you're going to get access to what's called the new teacher finder, which is our portal for available positions, networking events, principal panels, and the job search guide. We'll talk more about the new teacher finder later in the presentation. And please remember, you will get a recording of this webinar via email. All right, so let's get started with an overview of our schools. Okay. So here we see a quote from our chancellor. She says, "We have many different roles, but a single shared goal: to build a bright start and bold future for our children." Okay, so this is really grounds us in our work. You know, the 5 boroughs have many schools, so we are spread out across New York City, but this is a shared vision across all of our schools. All right, so when you are joining New York City Public Schools, you are joining the largest, most dynamic district in the nation. We have over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 teachers. New York City educators have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. New York City Public School students represent a wide range of backgrounds, identities, languages, and learning needs. They need teachers who reflect their diversity and are ready and able to support their learning. Whatever your background, experiences, and skill sets are, there are students in New York City public school classrooms waiting for a teacher like you. New York City has 1,600 schools that are as diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods that we serve. We have neighborhood schools, which have really deep roots in their local communities. We also have small thematic schools with a focus in performing arts. There's schools that focus in STEAM, humanities. We also have dual language schools. So whatever your interests or passions are, there is a school here for you. You can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy and engage with a community of like-minded professionals. Within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. We will talk later in the presentation about how you're able to find your fit and navigate the job search process in New York City. All right, so the New York State class size law means that we have many opportunities for educators in New York City this year. Those opportunities are only growing. We are hiring 3,700 additional teachers this year, which is a total of 8,000 to 9,000. Each year, we will need to hire more teachers to ensure our classrooms citywide are in compliance with the new class size reduction law. Okay, New York City Public Schools is always growing with new schools opening each year. This fall, we'll have 7 new schools opening. So there's many opportunities available. All right, so who are we looking for? We're dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We're looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the diversity of our student body. Okay, so when we talk about passionate, we're talking about exceptional educators who are passionate about educating urban students, truly believing in the power education can make in their lives. When we speak about being collaborative, we're looking for teachers that thrive on constant learning and collaboration with their colleagues. And when we speak about teachers who are committed, we're looking for teachers who are willing to go above and beyond for their students. We also, of course, seek to have a diverse teacher workforce that mimics the diversity of our student body. Okay, so there's many impacts that teaching can have on students. Teachers are the most important factor for student achievement. Every teacher drives high school graduation rates. Students carry a teacher's impact into their future classes and the rest of their educational career. And graduating from high school opens many opportunities for students. So the work that we do has a huge impact. So we are excited that you are wanting to join us. Right, so what are some of the benefits of teaching at New York City Public Schools? You get to make a difference in the lives of your fellow New Yorkers and maybe even those in your own local community. You focus on building a better future, using your skills to help develop the nation's next leaders, innovators, and educators. You build relationships with colleagues who are dedicated to a shared goal. You're joining a robust network of over 70,000 fellow teachers. Okay, so here we see some testimonials from 2 of our teachers. On the left, we have Sergio, who teaches middle school ELA, and he says, if you're here, it's because you are passionate about education and helping students learn in the most diverse city in the world. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you see Charlene. She teaches science in a high school that's focused on supporting English language learners. And she has the opportunity to support students during these critical years as they are both learning English and preparing for college study in health sciences. And she says, working and living in New York City affords you a range of opportunities that you don't see elsewhere. Okay, so here we're going to watch a brief video from one of our teacher recruiters and a New York City public school teacher. So we'll take a moment to hear what she has to say about her work.
I've always wanted to work with kids. My bachelor's degree was in psychology and sociology. I decided that instead of going that route, I wanted to pursue my education master's and start teaching. What's beautiful about teaching now is that we are all in this together. We all work together. We all collaborate together. I'm here to facilitate. I'm not here to lecture them for the entire period. They get to experience learning with each other. They get to experience making mistakes and learning from their mistakes. They get to experience exploring. Go for it. Being a teacher is like no other career. It's just so amazing how you can come into a building and work with a group of kids. You're shaping the future. Working in the community that I grew up has made me the person that I am today. I know the world better. And that's because I am a teacher and I work at PS 178 and I work in New York City and I work in Washington Heights. And I love it.
All right, perfect. So hopefully that video was inspiring for you. I know that I felt inspired by hearing from Ohasi about her experience in the classroom. All right, so let's move forward and talk a little bit about teacher salary. So our starting salaries as of January 2025 are $66,733 for bachelor's and no experience, and $75,017 with a master's and no experience. Teacher starting salaries do vary based on education and experience. You can also earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. On September 24th, 2025, salaries will increase to $68,902 and $77,455 respectively, which are the numbers that you see here on the screen. The Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality is unable to predict what your starting salary will be based on your experience and educational attainment, regardless of the teaching pathway that you choose. You can estimate your starting salary by visiting the UFT's salary schedule. This outlines opportunities for increases based on previous teaching experience, longevity at New York City Public Schools, and educational credits. All teachers do begin at the base salary and then apply for salary steps and salary differentials using the salary application system after you begin teaching. If you are eligible for a higher salary due to experience or educational attainment, you must apply for a salary step when you begin teaching full-time at New York City Public Schools. You cannot apply before then. If you are a paraprofessional, your years of service do not count towards teaching salary steps. If you are a full-time substitute teacher, your experience does count as full-time teaching, but you will need to provide documentation and proof of your full-time work. So if you are interested in learning more, seeing the salary schedule, you are welcome to scan the QR code that you see on the right-hand side of your screen here, and it'll give you a little bit more information. All right, so let's look ahead a bit about what your salary may be in the future in New York City Public Schools. So if someone is currently in their 8th year of teaching with their master's plus your 30 credits and professional development courses, you would be at a salary of $103,291. If you're someone who has 15 years of teaching at New York City Public Schools with your master's degree plus your 30 credits and professional development courses, you would be making $123,939. Remember, this is found using the pay scale for the 2025 school year. So these rates are subject to increase with the yearly raises that are negotiated with the United Federation of Teachers contract. All right, so here you see some additional resources if you're interested in learning more. On the left, UFT resources, that's the United Federation of Teachers or the Teachers Union. In the center, there's New York City Public Schools resources that are available. And then on the right, there is a webinar recording that is specific about salary and benefits. So you're welcome to scan any of those if you would like. Do remember, we will send you a recording of the webinar so you can access them later as well. All right, so in addition to our competitive salaries, we do also have other benefits. We have comprehensive health insurance plans that include dental, vision, and prescription drugs. And some of these plans require no employee contribution. There's annual retention bonuses, which are prorated during your first year and increase each year. There's membership with the United Federation of Teachers, enrollment in a pension plan. New York City Public School employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, college savings programs, and employee discounts on a variety of things from technology and media to travel and education. In addition, scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs are available for many employees. Okay, so here there are also some exciting loan forgiveness programs that you might be eligible for as a New York City Public Schools teacher. You may be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan, and while working full-time for an eligible employer. So if you're interested in learning more about this program or to see if you may qualify, you're welcome to scan the QR code that you see here on your screen. All right, so new teachers in New York City hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities that are tailored just for them, in addition to the many career development opportunities available to all teachers. We offer robust supports for our new teachers specifically in person, online, and in community settings. These include our New Teacher Week, which is an annual event where new teachers can get inspiration from special guest speakers, learn about key policies, engage with the United Federation of Teachers, and network with fellow teachers. There's school-based mentoring. So all new hires with an initial or Trans B license are assigned an experienced and trained mentor teacher to support professional growth throughout your first year in the classroom. And First Class Newsletter is a monthly digital bulletin for first-year teachers that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers to common new teacher questions. Teachers in New York City Public Schools, no matter where they are in their careers, also have access to professional development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development days, and after-school learning opportunities. In addition to school-based supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including New York City Public Schools offices and the United Federation of Teachers. We also offer digital resources for busy teachers to find resources for their classroom and stay connected to the opportunities that they have to extend their learning and their impact. Okay, so here we're going to watch another video clip with Victoria and David so they can talk a little bit more about how mentorship has helped them both in their professional journey.
I was fortunate that my principal let me become her mentor. I feel it makes teaching even more enjoyable because you're responsible to hear out your mentees' ideas, and we get to learn from each other, like our different teaching styles.
Being open to feedback, because at the end of the day, your mentor wants you to be a better teacher. They're not trying to criticize you.
To be a new teacher coming to New York City, it can be intimidating, and to know that you're going to have someone within your academic subject area to support you is something that I think everyone should know that is offered from New York City.
We have a lot of phys ed teachers that were able to collaborate, we're able to share ideas to make the experience better for the students. Some students are individual and some do have different triggers. It's nice to ask a veteran teacher, you had this student for 3 years, what did you do that helped this student?
Other people have the same issues. It's not just you. You're not alone on an island. Like, other people are experiencing the same thing, veteran teachers, rookie teachers.
We're very fortunate here, and being able to just bounce ideas off and learn from what other people are doing is just so great.
All right, perfect. So in addition to mentorship, we also have other teacher leader opportunities, which include leading laboratory classrooms, facilitating professional collaborations, coaching peers and colleagues, and advocating in leadership conversations. So if you're interested in learning more about the teacher leadership opportunities, you can scan the QR code that you see on this slide, and it'll give you more information about each of the roles that you see on the screen here. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about early childhood education. We'll give an overview and talk a little bit about the job opportunities in this space. All right, so let's start by talking about early childhood education and two mayoral initiatives, 3K and pre-K. Okay, studies show that children enrolled in quality early childhood education programs are better prepared academically, socially, and emotionally to succeed in elementary school and beyond. This is why New York City Public Schools has made it a priority over the last several years to provide high quality early childhood programs for all New Yorkers. With that goal in mind, our pre-K initiative is currently servicing all 32 districts and supporting about 40,000 students. Early childhood teacher candidates can work in one of 4 early childhood settings in New York City. We have district schools, pre-K centers, charter schools, or community-based organizations, which are known as CBOs. You can see all 4 of these settings represented on the map here on your screen. It's also available on My Schools, which is a free online resource for all prospective teachers. The different settings are represented by the different colored hands that you see on the screen. So we have the district schools and pre-K centers, which are your light blue and dark blue hands. District programs are early childhood classrooms located in district elementary schools, and there's about 700 of them across New York City. Pre-K centers are standalone buildings that only offer 3K and pre-K grades and classrooms. If you work at one of these sites, you're an employee of the City of New York and New York City Public Schools. This means you must hold a New York State Early Childhood Teaching certification by the start of the school year to be eligible to work in one of these settings. Okay, the green hands represent charter schools. New York City Public Schools does work with about 15 to 20 charters in New York City that offer early childhood programs. They usually have their own HR and hiring practices, but this is an option for you as a teacher candidate. And then we have our orange hands, which represent our community-based organizations. These are independent community-based organizations that contract with New York City Public Schools to provide free early childhood programs. You'll notice that there is a lot of orange hands on this map. We have about 1,200 community-based organizations across New York City. So each CBO employs its own teachers, and you are not an employee of the City of New York. But as a teacher candidate, it is important to understand the benefits of CBOs in order to maximize your job search and potential to secure a teaching position. One thing that does set CBOs apart is that they're 100% focused on early childhood education. Because of this, all their activities, their classroom layout, their professional development, how they select their educators, their programs for family and the community are all done with young children in mind. They're also known for their small size and family feel and for their connection to their community. This allows for a more supportive environment that's very valuable to new teachers and allows you to establish and build strong relationships with families and communities right from the start. Because there are so many CBOs across the city, they do really vary in their size, their location, and their mission. Some of these organizations are run by nonprofits and community-based programs. Others are nursery schools or daycare centers. This allows you as the candidate to tailor your job search and find a position that meets your educational philosophy and your teaching needs, whether it's based on the geography or the type of position that's being offered. CBOs are the only opportunities in New York City Public Schools to be a lead teacher without yet being New York State certified. The not yet certified positions may be of interest to some of you that might not yet be certified by the start of the school year, but you are interested in getting into the classroom and teaching now. So if we take one final look at the map we see here on the screen, remember all the orange hands are the community-based organizations. Every year we do see that the vast majority of hiring for early childhood education does occur in community-based organizations, and we anticipate that trend to continue. So if you are someone who is certified in early childhood education, we encourage you to say yes to CBOs on your teacher application so that you can maximize your job search possibilities, and we can share your information with hiring managers that are looking for positions in community-based organizations. Okay, so as we mentioned, there's a number of opportunities for early childhood educators. The QR codes here on the screen will help you learn more about each. But the left shows all the opportunities for people who are already certified. So if you are certified or you're on track to be certified by September, we do recommend completing the New York City Public Schools teacher application at teachnyc.net now. When you complete the application, you can then select whether you would be interested in teaching at CBOs. Saying yes to the CBOs will greatly increase your job prospects. If you're someone who is not certified or won't be certified by September, and you are interested in teaching early childhood, we do recommend that you complete the Early Childhood Teacher Finder at teachnycprek.org. As you do as you do have the opportunity to teach in a CBO as a lead teacher on a study plan, which allows you to teach full-time and earn a salary while completing your certification requirements. So if you would like more information about those opportunities, you can scan the QR code that you see on the right. Right, and with that, I'm going to pass it to my colleague Diane, who's going to talk with us about the application process.
Thank you, Catherine, and welcome to everyone who's on the call. We've got some great questions coming in, so thank you for those. I too am a science teacher with the New York City Department of Education, and I also work in the summer at a District 75 school for special education. In the winter, I work at a Saturday Academy for special education. So there's a lot of opportunities. I'm also a chapter leader for the UFT, our teacher union. So we're just really happy that you're all on the call. I'm going to be discussing the application process, how to apply, the timeline, and the deadlines. And the reason why this call is so great is obviously this is a peak hiring season. So New York State teacher certification is a requirement for a permanent teaching position at a New York public school. Most of the applicants have already earned their certification or will have it by the time they begin full-time teaching. If you're in a teacher preparation program or you hold a certificate in another state, you must apply for the New York State certification at the nysed.gov. So that website, nysed.gov, does all the certifications. So you would submit your teacher application with us while you're getting your certification with the state. You don't need to wait until your certification is finalized in order to apply. There are a few unique opportunities if you aren't yet certified, which we're going to talk about over the next few slides. And I know some people had some questions on that. So if you're not certified, we also have some possible opportunities for you this September. So additionally, if there's a certain point in your schooling, you have an opportunity to obtain an internship certificate. So when you look here, whether it's your college or university can give you an internship certificate. And what that is, it's a 2-year certificate that's available to students who have completed at least 50% of their approved New York State graduate program, leading to an initial certificate. And the reason why you would want to do this is you can be hired with us, so it helps the immediate needs across our network of schools. You're getting hands-on teaching experience while you're completing your degree and your initial certificate requirements. And the very important is you're getting that full-time teaching salary while you're still in school. So once again, you want to complete your New York City Public Schools teacher application and then upload that letter from whether it's a university or college about your internship certification eligibility as a certification document so that you can definitely apply and get in during our peak hiring season. For everyone who's interested in teaching for the upcoming school year, you must complete the New York City teacher application on teachnyc.net. And when applying to teach in New York City Public Schools, you should think of several important action steps. The action steps are not necessarily listed in order, since you can submit your teacher application without being officially certified. Often teacher candidates, want to know, should I wait to be certified before I apply? And all teacher candidates should absolutely apply before their certification is issued. Applying before you're certified is recommended and expected. So do not wait until after your certification comes through to apply. This could delay your potential employment with our New York City Public Schools. And you'll get your teacher certification through the New York State Education Department. It's important to note that the New York State Education Department, it's a separate entity from the New York City Public Schools. So the New York State Education Department is the main entity that issues the certification. But in short, the New York State Education Department says that you're certified, then you're ready to be hired under your certification. So you just want to make sure you're working closely with your college or university office to ensure that you complete all the certification requirements. The certifications are issued on a rolling basis, so the faster you're certified, the easier it is to get hired. Now, the next slide kind of gives you an overview of the application process. So the first steps that we'll be covering in the coming slide will be completing the common profile and the New York City Public School teacher application. So as you can see, you're going to complete your common profile, complete the New York City Public School teacher application. New York City Public School reviews the application. The application then is entered into the new teacher finder, and you're beginning your search at the New York City Public Schools in order to start teaching. So a lot of the onus after you get your confirmation that your application is complete, you're going to get access to the new teacher finder. So the onus is on you as an applicant to look at the openings, reach out to principals. On our next slide, we kind of go over, the statistics. So close to 40% of all applications were started before March. Over 1,500 early commitments and early hires were completed before July 15th, and it took an average of 11 days to submit an application, and it took an average of 3 months between the application submission and the hire date. So you want to apply as soon as possible. Right now, you're in the best hiring season, end of July, August. So I wouldn't worry too much about those turnarounds because there's plenty of openings that are waiting for you. That's why we're encouraging you to submit your application before the deadline of August 7th. So once again, for those interested in teaching early childhood, please review the website for teachnewyorkcitypre.org to determine, which path is best for you. And once again, as we said, if you're not certified, you can look to the community-based organizations and become a teacher and be given 7 years to get certified. If you will be New York State certified for the first day of school, you're completing the certified teacher section of the application. If you're not going to be certified the first day of school, you can complete the not yet certified section of the application, but you definitely want to apply. On the next slide, this is just a screenshot of teachnyc.net where you'll go to apply. You'll see the apply now option on the carousel and on other areas of the website. The earlier you complete the application, the sooner your job search begins. So you're going to be saying that repetitively, but you want to get on to teachnyc.net. And before you start your application process, you can check out, there's a teacher application guide, and that's on the next slide, where we'll walk you through the process. You're looking at a screenshot of the website, teachnyc.net, and you'll find a guide by going to our homepage and clicking on the teacher application guide image on the lower right-hand corner. This guide will share information on preparing your application, includes how to create an account, complete a common profile, tips and any notes or any frequently asked questions. And it also introduces you to our online support. So you're always going to have someone there to help you through the application process. Yep, and that's the guide there right on the bottom of the page. And then if you're a new user to the New York City teacher application, you'll need to select new user. If you've used it in a previous year, I know some people had some questions, they're coming back. If you've been on it before, you can use the same logon from before or reset your password, whatever you need to do, but you want to create that account. And then after the account is created, there's a registration page, and it looks like this, and you'll have to complete all the required information to register your account before you move on to the next steps of the application portal. And this is a secure government website, so your personal information is protected, and you'll obviously fill out the required fields. And then this screen is an example of the icons and what's required to complete. So it'll have, a highlight to what has to, a little asterisk to what has to be filled out, so you'll feel comfortable. And then there's two parts to it. So the part one to complete your New York City Public School profile, and then the second part is the teacher application. You do have to complete both sections in order to have a complete teacher application. And here are some of the sections you'll have to complete as part of your profile. So you'll have your account information and your work eligibility. And this step just asks for basic contact information and a few questions regarding work eligibility. So to be eligible to work in New York City, you must meet the citizenship and/or residence requirements. You must complete all parts of the eligibility question, especially if you answered yes to the work authorization status, and then indicate the specific work authorization status. And if you do not disclose your work authorization status, the application won't move forward. Under your education, this is where you're going to enter all your education history from high school and all of the post-secondary. And if you're holding, I know some people had questions on this, they hold advanced or multiple degrees. You first enter the undergrad degree before entering the advanced degrees. And it's important also, the work experience information can be used to start your starting salary. So you want to make sure if you have any educational experience that you're including that as well. And then you're going to attach your resume. It cannot exceed 1 megabyte, and we encourage you to use PDF for formatting. And just make sure that it's complete. And then obviously there's a disclosure and a release statement that you're acknowledging everything is correct in your application. So that's part one of the application. And then part two, these are on part two, these are the, required for the application. So I know people had questions on this, the certification documentation. So proof of your certification or that letter from your university that's saying you're at least 50% on your way to be certified by September 1st, 2025. Your resume, work history, academic history, professional references, obviously in line with education, and then a Common Core aligned lesson plan, a personal statement. We're really looking for evidence that demonstrates that you're a polished professional who, thoughtfully submitted the application to the New York City Public Schools. And your responses to these parts of the application can affect your engagement with the office. So for example, if you identify the Bronx as a borough preference, you may be invited to online or in-person recruitment events for Bronx schools. On the next slide, in your job search, the profile, there are multiple questions that allow you to specify your preference. So grade levels, boroughs, program types. So you select your grade level preference in part of the application. This preference should match your certification. So, obviously you don't want to select a preference for a grade level that you're not certified to teach. And then for the borough preferences, indicate the location where you're most interested in finding a job. So as you know, the New York City Public Schools district is the largest in the country. So we have over 1,600 schools, and then we in the 5 boroughs, and then we heard Catherine, we're opening another 7. So, understanding your preference in terms of where you'd like to work is important for our staff. The first question looks at your top 3 borough preferences. So if you're only willing to accept the position in 1 or 2 boroughs, please mark only those 1 or 2 in the first and second preference sections. And please mark no preference for the 3rd borough. You can revisit the section as often as you'd like, so we can adjust it to, what you want. District 75 is a non-geographic district, and that gives quality and rigorous education to children on individual education programs, so that the students, they might be facing significant challenges. So if you're eligible, you have your special ed certification, you may want to share it with the District 75 schools in the geographic location that you specified. So these are just all good things to be aware of for what works best for you. Now on this screen, in the job search profile section of the application, you also have the option to indicate your interest in early childhood positions. So if you're certified or on track to be certified to teach early childhood education, after you've selected early childhood teaching positions of interest, we encourage you to select yes to, you know, any early childhood job prospects, because each year the majority of the early childhood hiring occurs in the New York City community-based organizations. They call them CBOs, community-based organizations. And by selecting yes, you'll have access to hundreds of early childhood positions. And as a reminder, New York City community-based organizations are the only opportunity through the New York City Public Schools to be a lead teacher without yet having your New York State certification. So the not yet certified positions might be of interest to some of you that might not be certified by the start, you know, in September. You might be interested, and you can learn more about that at the teachnycprek.org. Certified teachers working at community-based New York City CBOs or in a 4410 or 4201 programs now make the same starting salary as teachers working in a New York City public school district school or a pre-K center. So that's really a great thing, and they allow you 7 years to get certified. On the next screen, for each of your certifications or extensions you hold, you'll be asked to input the following information. The certification status, so certification issued, requirements completed, but certification not yet issued by the New York State Education Department or certified in another state, the certification type, the subject area, the grade level, the certification issue date or expected issue date, and your educational pathway to certification. Did you attend a traditional teacher preparation program? Did you participate in the New York City Teaching Fellows, etc.? But just note that you need to enter this information for each certification. So I'm certified to teach 1 through 6, but I'm also certified for special ed. So I would have to fill out this twice for each of my licenses. So just be careful with that. And then one of the most common reasons why teacher candidates applications get held up, and you don't want to get held up because we're really in a very important hiring time. So one of the most common reasons why teacher candidates applications get held up during the review process is they do not upload the correct or current supporting document showing they're certified or on track to be certified. So if you hold a New York State teacher certificate already, you'll need to submit an electronic copy of your current unexpired teacher certificate or a screenshot of your Teach account that shows your current active New York State certification. And if you're on track to receive your New York City teacher certification by September of 2025, you can submit that on-track letter completed by your college or university, and you can find a sample of these letters by scanning that QR code. So if you're in that group, you might want to scan that, so when you're talking to your college or university, you know what you need to upload for your proof of certification. Even though you don't physically have it, you will have it. So for those who are certified to teach in another state, you should begin the reciprocity process to get certified in New York State. So you have to go to New York State, so nysed.gov to begin that process. And the NYSED takes 6 to 8 months to review the application if you're interested in teaching in the New York City Public Schools. So you should begin this process as soon as possible. And if that pertains to you, you know, obviously those 2 QR codes are there to help you. This template here, you're not required to use our template for your resume, but we do recommend for prospective teachers, with a resume template in the teacher application guide. We do also encourage you to use your Graduate School of Education students to take advantage of your Career Services Center at your university or college to get the support before uploading your application. And then you'll also have a chance to upload another copy of resume in the application. This is in addition to the one you've included in the common profile. And this is a chance to ensure that your resume reflects your experience and your qualifications to become a New York City public school teacher. Your resume is a critical part, of your first impression. So we just have some tips above to kind of, know who your audience is. I was a career changer. I came from finance education, so I wanted to make sure I had more education than finance on there. Obviously listing all your certification, use action verbs or specific examples to highlight your skills and accomplishment. And obviously you want to make sure your resume is clear and concise, grammatically correct, no spelling errors, and that your formatting is consistent throughout. So once again, it's just putting your best foot forward in professionalism for your application. And then, bringing the overview, after you've completed the common profile and the New York City public school teacher application, all applicants will get a confirmation email from our Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality confirming receipt of the applications. They'll be reviewed to determine certification eligibility, and only applicants that meet the standards will be entered into the new teacher finder. And once again, that's that database to connect you with schools and access job postings and other resources. And we'll talk more about the new teacher finder shortly, but now you can officially start your job search. And this is just obviously a timeline. We're in the best time of year, so we won't spend too much time on this. But right now, the principals know their openings, you're available, so we couldn't be more excited. The end of July, August is a great time to be filling our openings. So the next slide here is a very important date. So just please make sure you complete your part 1 and part 2 by August 7th so that we can review it, get back to you. You can get access to the new teacher finder and obviously start reaching out to the principals because this is our final application deadline. And we want you to be teaching in our New York City public schools this fall. So please apply as soon as possible so you can, take advantage of all the support that we have for you based on your application. And then just to sum everything up, in order to teach at the New York City Public Schools, you must be certified, complete the requirements, and apply for the New York State Teaching Certificate. Submit your New York City teacher application at teachnyc.net. And remember, you don't have to wait till your certification to apply. And finally, finding your position, you're doing your own outreach and networking, which we'll speak about in the next section. Maribel is going to help us with that. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate all the questions. And Maribel, help us find that right fit.
Thank you, Diane. Hi, everyone. My name is Maribel, and I have been a New York City public teacher for the past 26 years at the same school, and I love my job, and I also do a lot of opportunities, just like Diane does. So today we're going to talk about finding your fit. Make an impact where you are needed the most. One way you can promote success in your job search is by considering districts, neighborhoods, and schools where your talents are most needed. If you're certified in certain high demand subject areas, this is especially true. If you're really determined to work here, you should also think strategically about where you're looking for a position. If you want to go where the jobs are, consider teaching positions in either the Bronx and Brooklyn. This year, 58% of our new hires occur in schools in these two boroughs. It's very important that you find a school that's the right fit for you, but don't exclude schools because they are slightly out of your comfort zone or in a different borough from where you live. Almost all of our schools are easily accessible by public transportation, and we have students who need great teachers in the 5 boroughs. Where are the high need subject areas? While we hire across all certification areas and backgrounds, we want to highlight the current hiring priorities for New York City Public Schools. These priorities can shift from year to year based on the needs of our schools. If candidates are not yet certified or candidates are considering adding an extension to your certification, these are areas where principals will be hiring and where there is a high demand for more teachers to be certified. We also encourage you to consider one of these areas where teachers are in high demand. If you have an extension or another certification in one of these subject areas, it might be wise to leverage it to increase your job prospects. And as you can see in the slideshow, we have special education, science, mathematics, and you see all of that on the slide. Finding the right position. We must research schools online, conduct outreach to schools directly, use a new teacher finder and other job boards, network with colleagues and professors and friends, attend the New York City Public Schools networking events. The new teacher finder, your best friend in your job search. One helpful job search tool is the New York Teacher Finder, or NTF. Once you submit a high quality application, you will get access to the new teacher finder. You will be able to log in and use the new teacher finder in several ways. Your application profile will become viewable to principals and recruiters. You'll also be able to search for teaching positions. It's important to note that not all principals list positions in the NTF, but many do, and this will give you a sense of what's out there. Principals may not post positions, but they could be reviewing resumes to see which candidates can be a good fit for their schools. Also, if you're certified in a high need subject area, you may receive invitations to the New York City Public Schools sponsored recruitment events during the spring or summer. It's important to note not all candidates are invited to all events online and in person. Overall, application quality, event capacity, and current certification needs are taken into consideration when inviting candidates to the networking events. Using the new teacher finder. Here's a screenshot of what the new teacher finder looks like. After selecting search all positions on the left panel, you can filter for the position type, your preferred borough, grade level, and subject area. Principals enter their vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. Search for schools online. To learn more about specific schools, you can go to the schools.nyc.gov and use the school search feature right on the homepage. You can search for schools by name, borough, or grade level to help narrow down your options. However, you'll want to remember that the tool lists every school in our system, not just those with the openings. Once you've identified schools that interest you, you'll need to contact them directly to inquire about position availability. Researching the schools. Clicking on an individual school's name will take you to a page that contains a wealth of information about a school. Click on the school website to go directly to their website. Click on Overview to see some data about the grade levels, enrollment, district, and more. You can also click on the school quality for direct links to school quality guides and reports for this school. Click on Reports also for additional information about school programs, finances, and much more. Standing out virtually. As you're conducting your job search, it's very important that you want to think about ways to help you stand out virtually. This can include creating a portfolio, ensuring your cover letter and resume are strong. Clear and specific, and uploading a portfolio and or video of demo lessons. You can upload all of this information in the Spotlight section of the new Teacher Finder so that principals can see it when they view your application. You can also send this information to principals and hiring managers via email when conducting your outreach. Note that your demo lessons should be uploading to an online platform like Google or Dropbox, and you can then include the link in your portfolio. With the right strategies and approaches, you can find the position that is right for you. Next steps and questions. Online support. Please visit the Online Support Center for 24/7 support with the application and hiring process. The Support Center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as a Contact Us button where you can submit your questions to the TRQ Help Desk for a personalized response. Please follow us on social media. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to stay on top of what's happening within New York City Public Schools. We have really active social media platforms where we regularly share updates on the application and recruitment events, as well as news about what's going on in our schools and relevant opportunities for teachers. Please join the conversation.